Hello there. Welcome to what is this, episode 3?
Yes,
Episode
sir.
3 of the Boba Fett companion book of Boba Fett companion series. My name is Mike, joined with the White Tim Pool and Chadwick the Third here to break down and recap episode 3 of the book of Boba Fett. Yeah, what an episode, huh? It's much shorter than last week.
It is the same runtime as the first episode. We were spoiled there by the 53-minute episode 2. I knew we would be.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a red flag for you, Chad. I know you don't
Major,
like the short guys.
Yeah. Not a fan. Not a fan. Not a
Still-
fan of this short runtime, and not a fan of this episode really either.
Okay, can't wait to get down with that. Also, Jordan seems to not be a big fan of this episode either. In our little text chain, he was.
Sounds like he's not a fan of the series anymore.
Yeah.
Full bear, full sad boy.
Classic Jordan. But yeah, Nick, you did so good last week recapping the episode. So let's why don't we just let you recap it for us?
Yeah, we can tear right into it. And this episode, I think, definitely the weaker of the 3 we have so far, for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely just some things didn't execute right for whatever reason. And unfortunately, the one thing they didn't execute perfectly is usually something that Star Wars executes perfectly. Very, very known for their chase scenes.
Yeah.
When you can pull off like a high speed like chase scene in like sci-fi back in like 1979, but you can't do it in 2021. That's when people start to just wonder a little bit.
I have a theory about that. We'll get to it when we get to it.
Yeah, I could definitely like fan explain all the way around all of it, but I don't really need to. I'm just gonna like let that be.
Hey guys, be careful what you say tonight, though, because we don't want to disrespect Boba. Okay, he already got disrespected enough this episode.
So before we get started, though, is this like the white Tim Pool outfit you have on? Is this like an inside joke I don't understand? Okay.
No, I mean, I think we've done this before.
We did. I don't think we ever undid the name change from last time he looked like Tim Pool, but it just worked out that he came looking like Tim Pool again.
No, I did change it. I purposely changed it.
Oh, you did? Okay.
That good. I think last winter there's a couple episodes where I like wore this get up and Mike called it out. I think it just makes sense. It's the white Tim Pool outfit.
Yeah. If you don't know who Tim Pool is, Google it and then do a little side by side between Nick and Tim Pool.
It's pretty spot on because I did not know who Tim Pool is, and it's pretty accurate.
Yeah, that's my brother. He's doing it. He's a bit more popular than me, but
we'll catch up someday.
Yeah, someday. But anyway, at the top of the episode, we're at Boba's palace, and Boba's getting a rundown of the post-Jabba state of Tatooine from 8D8. This is where we lead in a little bit into this whole like family crime syndicate mob boss details. Finally, we get a little bit more details here. So far, it has felt like Boba's just kind of like walking around, gun out, like I'm the man, I'm in charge, but everyone's like, yeah, not really. Usually that gets met with a little bit more kickback sooner in like mob kind of movies. So I feel like it's been slow to get to this level of detail. I don't know why. But I mean, I guess I know why. I mean, Blood Tusken stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, we spent a lot of time with the Tuskens, and it does seem like we maybe nailed last week saying that was probably the last big thing we're going to see from the Tuskens. So, but yeah, I think that's the reason. But
I guess that's true. Like if we were to take out the Tusken stuff, like how much, crime story have we actually progressed here? So maybe, it fits in timing wise. But 88, he explains that Bib Fortuna, he assembled leadership to kind of help him manage Jabba's empire on Tatooine. specifically Mos Espa, and that was divided into 3 families. The Trandoshans taking the city's center, which explains all the mean mugs from the Trandoshans in other episodes as he kind of every time he approaches the mayor's office, I will call it. That explains why the Trandoshans are just kind of lurking about there. The Aquilish, not sure.
Yeah,
I had to.
Aquilish, I
I'm not sure
believe.
how to. Yeah, Aquilish.
They say it a lot smoother in the episode, but I had to.
Because that Matt Berry is just
yeah,
got that sweet,
And he practiced saying it like 30 times before they started filming.
Yeah.
So probably
So
a good point right there, Chad.
they take the workers district, which we've heard a little bit about, and then the Clatoonians took the Starport and the Upper Sprawl. I really feel like I feel like a Clatoonian, like I feel like that's what I want. I would want the Starport and the Upper Sprawl as like a mob boss or like as a mob family. I don't know who these the Aquilish are, and they just get the workers district. That kind of I mean that's kind of like the docks thing, though. Like, whoever controls the docks, like the workers, like that's pretty powerful. I just like that they're kind of blending these.
Well, I kind of feel like the Starport is more like the docks.
Yeah, true.
And the work district, that's like the shaken down store people for it. That's how I took it, at least.
Yeah, true. So yeah, they're further just giving us some detail here into this, this mob family story we're getting, which is good. But due to Bib not being as powerful as Jabba, he just kind of diluted a lot of his power to these families, and then also lined the mayor's pockets to kind of manage these uneasy alliances. So Bib's kind of like a pushover. He was just kind of like the centerpiece there at the palace, didn't really do a whole lot. So this whole time while Jabba's been out of commission, all these other characters here have been really kind of running the show. And then Boba just kind of shows up and he's like, hey, I'm the boss. Why? Because I killed Bib Fortuna and I had the throne. Not that easy. Not that easy, Boba. I'm sorry.
I'm glad that 8D8 is like making his episodic appearance. I had to think of the right word there. He's my favorite character by far. I love how he's like won't say Jabba's name there.
Yeah.
He who will not be named.
Why? Because it'll offend you. Why would it offend me? But yeah, like I was telling you, Mike, before the show, I do like how they are very creative in Star Wars in terms of like new droids, different kind of like MOs that they all have. So this one's very unique. It's it's a torture droid, and they have a great voice actor for them, and they always do find some. I mean, he's kind of without having his own like be a sidekick in a movie, kind of thinking like K2SO, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, he's ranking up there pretty quickly as like a pretty cool droid overall,
for sure. I think he's working his way up my list too. I think K2SO. I just watched Rogue One, and he's great, man.
He's fantastic.
He's absolutely fantastic. But it is nice to see him showing up in every episode here, even if it's for 1 or 2 scenes.
Yeah, and I mean he's the C-3PO. They don't have a protocol droid, but they got a 8D8. Good enough. Can't really. He's not very personable or nice, but
nor should he be.
Nor should he
be
a
torture droid. So
yeah, wondering if we'll get to see a torture droid 8D8 come out.
Yeah,
Matt Berry get his sinister voice on. So as that's going on, Lortha Peel enters. The Gamorreans just kind of announced that there's company, no appointment, but Boba, he always has time for a fresh appointment because he's not too busy really. So he's kind of sitting around trying to figure out how he's gonna do his job. But this is kind of like the whole, not peasantry, but like just worker level, local coming in with their complaint to who is supposed to be the ruler and the law of the area, kind of pleading his case. He's he tells Boba no one respects him. The streets are in chaos. Lortha here is a watermonger. So basically, he's a water dealer here on Tatooine in the streets, dealing out that water. And he's blaming a local street gang who modifies himself with droid parts as, owing him money and also really just stealing the water from them. And basically, he's poisoning this to Boba. Like, this is your problem that you need to deal with, and if you want to show that you are a proper crime boss, got to do your job here. Lortha Peel here is played by Stephen Root, who plays Fuchs and Barry. Fuchs, yeah, I knew he looked familiar. I was like, he's that guy that's like in stuff, but I'm glad you pointed that out.
Yes, dude. First off, when he's like waddling down the stairs, you see the curly hair, and I was like, is that Fabs? Like, I don't think he's like round enough to be Fabs, and if Fabs walks like that, that's gotta get that like figured out. But yeah, I was like, could that be? And then he gets closer, and it wasn't, and I was like, oh, but even better because it's Fuchs from Barry, and I love that. He's a great character in Barry. So I always love the people they bring in for like some of these small, cameos. Like one or two line characters.
We get 2 of them this episode.
Yeah. Okay. I gotta do this because wow, this really threw me off. And so earlier today, Beck and I were talking about how my parents met. It's a long story.
Sounds like it.
My dad's from Ellet. My mom's from Philly. So we were like, how did they meet? I forget. So I text my mom, how'd you and dad meet? And she just texted me 2 hours later at a nude beach. I hate my mom.
Man, I hope it's true.
I
hope it wasn't just a joke.
I hope it nude beach and down in Atlantic City.
Yeah,
that would just that just seems like the place for that story to take place.
All right. Well, thanks, Mom, for derailing the companion series. Anyways,
destroyed.
Yeah, Lortha, he kind of just like, no offense, but
you suck.
Yeah, no one really respects you, bro.
Yeah. It's kind of the passive aggressiveness of him too. I liked.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm insulted for you. Or whatever he says.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is also like, it's happened before, but it's also the first of a couple times in this episode where Boba is being pitted against, to do others kind of dirty work, and he's kind of being positioned in ways to have other people, get what they want. And obviously this guy's got some shady undertones going with him, and we find out in a little bit here that he is actually up to kind of a little bit of no good anyways in the first place. So it's a little bit of a theme this episode because it happens at least like 3 times.
Do these human droids hey, you like what I did there?
Human droids, yeah,
instead of humanoids. Anyways, are these like from anywhere in Star Wars, just brand new?
Yeah. Okay.
Newer than their bikes.
Yeah. So this is why I hated this episode, to be honest with you. Was
their Vespa scooters?
Yeah. First off, we start the series off with like a pretty badass swoop bike gang.
Yeah.
And then we move to like a scooter gang that's from Terminator and maybe Harry Potter or something like that, because they don't even look like they fit into Star Wars whatsoever. Their bikes are like pristinely brand new, crystal clear.
Yeah.
Like, I hated the bikes, dude. They look horrendous.
They belong on Coruscant, kind of like street level, kind of like, they're like more of a Coruscant street gang. So I don't know how they made their way to Tatooine. Maybe they're, so rough around the edges there that they just kind of escaped to here.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely very weird. I kind of know what they're going for because it's like that. It's the younger, like they're young. They're they're kind of like street rats, kind of, and they like cybernetics in their arms and modifications. So they like their shiny scooters, because I will not call these speeder bikes because They are not speeder bikes.
No, they're scooters.
we've
100%.
seen-
Seriously, all I could think of is like a senior citizen Vespa
Yeah.
scooter.
Yeah.
It's exactly what they look like.
We've seen many a speeder bike in Star Wars, and these definitely weren't it. And like even like later, like their speed and just like the way they're designed, like they're definitely scooters made for like, urban kind of like putting around. And that's
Grocery store shopping is what they look like they're made for. And
Yeah.
I don't necessarily have a hang up with like the cybernetic stuff that they got going on. It just none of it looks like it's out of Star Wars. It looks like straight out of Terminator. The one dude has a red metal eye. So,
Oh yes, the vagina eye. That's,
yeah. So,
Oh wow.
I mean,
yeah, it's I don't know.
I didn't pick
man.
up on that.
I don't know. I'm just not into this gang whatsoever. I hope they disappear in the next episode, but it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case.
Well, Boba deploys into the streets to like deal with this riffraff, and he uncovers there's no work in the workers' district. Lortha here, the watermonger, he's overcharging for water, hence why they stole the water. So Boba, sensing that there's more to the story, he's like, "Hey, you need work? Come work for me." Well, Chad, we're gonna see these guys some more probably because they did not meet their end in this episode.
Not at all.
They could have knocked off like one of them at least, so
right?
Like 3.
Like the dude with the gray jacket, who looks like he's out of. He literally looks like he's out of Harry Potter. To be honest with you, I don't know where they got his wardrobe, but I mean, he looks horrendous. But at the same time, Boba does need some people around him,
Yeah.
But I would have preferred maybe if it was like another swoop bike gang like we saw earlier on in the series, because that felt more Star Wars to me.
Yeah, he could have muscled in like a sect of the street bike gang to become his lackeys.
Yeah, or like their rivals or something. You could have made anything besides these guys.
Everything. I mean, obviously, looks so worn down because they live in a giant desert. So like you're gonna get like basically sandblasted everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, the pristineness of their paint jobs and stuff really did kind of annoy me. I'm like, I mean, at first I was like, oh, cool colors, and then I was like, wait a second, there's nothing nice here because I mean, it's literally like living in a sandblaster. So,
and
like, how do you keep that up? I don't know.
Yeah, and I would support these new characters a lot more if their bikes were actually fast, and I would say they're like too fast, too furious type of characters, right? They're like more of like the imports, like they're on imports. They're fast, they're sharp, like they're fancy, they wear like nice clothes. They're that young crowd, but they're scooters.
Right. Yeah. I to be honest with you, I kind of think that's what they were trying to go for. 100%. It just, I don't know, dude. They just stick out like a sore thumb. Like, especially the cleanliness of them is like absurd for the middle of the desert. So I agree with Mike.
They could at least put on like the painted on like tarnish that Boba's armor has.
Right. Yeah. Give me something. Like they literally went to the scooter store and then just CGI'd out the wheels on these things. Didn't do anything to them.
Yeah. And I do like though how like each episode there's been like a recruitment into Boba's like posse. So yeah, he's building up his forces, and as we'll learn later on, he might need to build up a few more. Most
definitely. But yeah, Lortha creepily just kind of arrives out of the shadows and is like, oh, they owe me money, or like my debt needs to be paid, blah, blah, blah. And, it's some ridiculous number. And Boba's already recruited, the gang into his service. And Boba's like, I'll pay you 500. We'll just call it even. Disgruntled, he takes it, and that settles it for Lortha. We might see him again. I don't know. He had that look in his eye, like like he's about to go tattle or something.
Yeah,
he's about to go tell.
Either that, or he's gonna get somebody to go after Boba because he didn't handle it the way that he expected it to be handled. But he kind of he's got Mos Espa by the balls, to be honest with you, because he's the guy that sells the water. So he can really probably charge whatever he wants.
Right.
So,
and he was.
I would imagine that position is maybe a little bit more powerful than it may seem on the surface.
Very true.
Being a water dealer on Tatooine,
kind of like the the shop owner you don't touch. Like, don't mess with the shop owner because he's the guy.
Right. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I think we're definitely going to see him again, or something tied to him for sure.
Yeah, it's really just kind of like Boba's drawing these lines in the sand in terms of who's on his side, who isn't.
It would be hilarious if Bill Hader made a cameo appearance as an assassin.
Yes,
who's hired by Lortha because
they might do that.
In Barry, Fuchs is Barry, who is the hitman. He's his handler.
Yeah.
So like that would just be so amazingly meta that I would probably pee my pants if that ever happened.
If this was an HBO show.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Speaking of which, what's his face from that show also needs to show up in Star Wars at some point. He could be a good Sith.
Oh yeah, Anthony Kerrigan.
Yeah. Also from Gotham. You know who we're talking about, Chad?
I do not know.
Well, have you seen Gotham?
I watched the first season. Outside of that, no.
Victor Zsasz and Gotham.
What's his name? What's his name again?
Anthony Kerrigan. In Barry, he plays NoHo Hank, who's
great.
The funniest character ever.
Oh yeah, I've never even seen this dude, to be honest with you.
He's so funny.
Diversify yourself.
He would be. I could totally see him as a Sith, though, for sure. He's got even just his like casting photos. He's got a very Sith look to him.
Yeah. He has some like disorder where he just doesn't have hair.
Yeah.
And he's extra.
Somebody else that's like that too. It's not a disorder. Michael Chiklis, he played Vic Mackey on The Shield. A couple other things. You know him if you saw him, but he like used something on his hair and it like burnt all his and now he can't grow hair anymore. It's a really absurd story. I can't remember what it was, if it was like some sort of like dye or shampoo or something, but it just totally made him bald for the rest of his life.
That's nuts. Yeah, we'll see if Lortha comes back.
We shall. So that was like the opening. It's like the Streets of Mos Espa, right? It was kind of like a long opening, which is fine. They do that sometimes. And then, we get teased a little bit here because we're like, oh, Boba, back to tank. More Tusken Raider stuff. So Boba's in the back to tank. He's just dreaming of his youth on Camino, watching his father fly away. I'm not sure the importance of this quite yet, but I don't know if this is just trauma of just his father always leaving him to go work.
Yeah, I feel like it's been in every single episode so far, I think, in some fashion. So in the other
Boba.
Yeah. The other thing I felt odd in this episode is where I noticed it almost looks like the Slave One is painted with Boba's paint, not Jango's paint. I don't know if it just was I don't know, the angle
Camino's
or something.
Camino's like gray and blue, and Jango's is gray and blue.
Yeah, it could have been that. I'm sure they didn't mess that up. It feels like an obvious thing to not screw up, but
we need the Slave One model. Here you go. Oh wait, forgot to change the color on it.
They changed the name of it too. It's not the Slave One anymore. It's the name of the ship. Fire Spray, I think, is the name of the actual. They settle on Fire.
I thought it was just gonna be like Boba Fett's starfighter. Boba Fett's ship. Boba Fett ship.
No, I think it's Fire Spray or something. I don't know.
Man, when I got my truck, I wanted to get my custom license plate to say Slave One, but I just knew that wouldn't not gonna work.
Not gonna fly. There, White Tim Pool.
Yeah, so I just went with the bounty hunter symbol on the back. So good enough, close enough. That's the backstory on why that's there and not Slave One.
Good call.
Yeah, good call. I was like, I'm gonna dial this back just a little bit. Because it was blue and it was like Jango's ship, whatever. I was like,
dude, I would have a hard time not like trying to purposely get pulled over just so the cop has to type in Slave One and then talk to him about it.
We got a Slave One going speeding. Slave One.
In pursuit of Slave One.
In pursuit of Slave One.
I'm sorry. Okay. Anyways,
yeah. I'm glad I got that story out sometime in my life. It actually applies here.
Yeah, it does.
Probably the only time.
Yeah,
you'll ever be able to tie that into. Just
I've told that story like twice, and like that's why it never applies.
Nice.
Deep deep jokes. But here on the sands of Tatooine, Boba is given a noble bantha. Banthas are very kind of important to the Sand People, and actually, I was reading from a previous episode because as soon as we got like episode 2, all the articles of like, here's all the things you didn't know about Sand People, and I'm like, okay, all right, we get it. There's like a bunch of new Sand People stuff, so we're gonna rehash this. But they give Boba a bantha, which means he's pretty legit. I mean, he's the guy. He's the bee's knees around Tusken Camp Village.
That's the new name. Bantha 1.
Bantha 1. That's what it should have been.
Man,
They're probably not very fast. Probably moved on like those scooters though.
Well, I always think about that because they ride these dewbacks and they ride banthas, and like they do not go fast.
No.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
probably took him like a week to go to where he's going.
For sure.
I guess the saver is just like your energy from walking in the desert, so you're just kind of walking but riding on something that's moving the same speed. So
it's like,
this is one thing that I was thinking about too, about the bantha and being inhabitants of a giant desert. For not having much water or really food, they sure are gigantic animals to sustain in the middle of a desert. But that was just like my non-suspension of disbelief happening while I was watching this. I was like, wait a second.
Like the length of the train chase scene was excessively long.
They end up like 300 miles away from camp.
Then they have to ride the bantha all the way back.
Maybe the train was actually much slower than like the camera was giving it credit for. So like really everything in Star Wars is really slow.
We're just used to watching the bantha, and that we thought the train was super fast compared to it.
In the same way, I hope because you know how Boba was like like a bantha teaching him to ride the speeder. I hope they said like your spaceship when telling him how to ride the bantha. Same thing. Just call it Bantha 1. Good Lord. But yeah, so he's riding through the desert at lightning speed on Bantha back, and we find him going to Mos Eisley, dreaded place, and we kind of get a little bit more context here. So specifically, the Pikes operate out of Mos Eisley, and this is why we don't really see much of the Pikes in Mos Espa up to this point. But they operate out of Mos Eisley, so he's going there to collect the tribute that they previously set up. And we get a call back to the Mando EP of the Stormtrooper helmets on.
Yeah, that was cool.
Pikes, not like the Pikes, but Pikes. Spikes, whatever you want to call them.
I dug that. I thought it was a cool callback. Seeing it built for the first, it's built in this episode, then putting the heads on there. So it was cool. People celebrating the downfall of the Empire.
Just picking up Stormtrooper helmets out of the sand. And then we get the little cameo that like kind of everybody was talking about, but it wasn't like that like groundbreaking, but it's the hangar attendant and her 3 pit droids from Mando season 1. Didn't look up her name. I don't think it's like that big a deal, but it's a fun little Easter egg to kind of drop in there.
Where was she? I didn't even.
It's quick.
So like the Stormtrooper helmets, as they're doing that pan shot and he's riding by, she's walking like down on the ground, like beyond them. It's super quick. Like it's, and then her 3 little pit droids are following her.
Nice.
She looks like she's on a mission. But that was a quick little Easter egg there. Building our Mando-verse of Easter eggs. And so Boba goes up to the Pike leader, who's kind of just chilling in this nice little office he has in a little subterranean hut. But this dude, he's claiming that they're happy to pay tribute and all this stuff, but they're not going to pay it twice for protection for 2 different parties. And Boba's confused. He's like, I represent the Sand People. But apparently the speeder bike gang is claiming this territory as well. And the Kenton Striders, I don't know if this is a previous use or not. Chad, do you know?
Not that I know off the top of my head. But yeah, I was trying to hear what they said because I mean, I'm assuming this is the same speeder bike gang that we saw, right? With the
That was
JL
my
logo.
thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, assuming so, just because like the way what happens like in the next scene and
Right.
stuff. I'm assuming so, but yeah, I had to close caption that the Kenton Striders, but then Boba calls them something else on like a shorthand name for them. So a little murky here, but essentially this is our second instance of obviously earlier in the timeline, but someone giving Boba the runaround in terms of like, hey, go do this. If you want what you want, you got to go do this.
Do this. Yeah. Yeah. It's very, it's very MMO like.
Dude,
Yeah.
I was thinking that exact same thing, dude.
That's very true. Yeah. So, Boba always happy to accept the new quest, but, very annoying. I mean, but this definitely is like alluding, obviously they're dealing with the Pikes here, continuously in his past is kind of like the setup for him just starting to like understand this like wider criminal network,
Right.
Tatooine.
Yeah, I mean, I like this because I would have had major issue if none of this happened in the show. He just walked in and took over, and none of this stuff was happening. There's power bases already in play on Tatooine, and
Right.
even though Jabba's out, and I know that we've seen Pikes before in something.
Yeah.
But have we seen the Syndicate and like live action cartoon? I don't think we have we? Maybe Clone Wars.
Not live action, but they were in the Clone Wars quite a bit, and then most recently they were in the arc with Ahsoka and the sisters in the
episode. Yeah. In the 7th season, you're talking. Oh yeah.
Yep.
I knew I saw him somewhere. Okay, yeah. So good.
No, I was gonna say because Ahsoka actually goes to their home planet, and that's when Anakin in the first episode she sees him again. He's like, "What were you doing there?"
Yeah,
like Spice Capital, Pike Syndicate.
right.
And I think the other time earlier was like, I almost want to say that is where Palpatine goes and has a lightsaber chase and fight. I don't know if it's Maul or who it was, but earlier in the Clone Wars, I could have swore when Palpatine has to go like settle something himself for once in there.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds familiar. Yeah. I'm in the process of rewatching Clone Wars, so maybe I'll catch it here in the first couple seasons. But I knew we had saw them before, and that makes sense because I just watched the 7th season, so that's what I'm thinking of.
Live action Pike, though, there's one of them in Solo,
right,
on Kessel, that that's running the mine there.
Yeah, so I mean, I get it probably for Boba Fett, this is very frustrating, all this stuff happening, but for me personally, I like it because it shows that he's not just going to walk all over these people, and there's already, things in play here.
Yeah. So Boba treks across the desert sands here on his majestic bantha, only to find our Tusken village, where he basically was reborn and grew up. His whole childhood all over again, burned and destroyed, and murdered.
Yeah, I'll take the check mark for the prediction again though, because I predicted this last episode, and you guys were like, "No, Disney wouldn't do that. It's too dark." I'm like, oh, they're getting slaughtered for sure.
They're all
they just have something against sand people.
They do.
They always got to be slaughtered.
Always getting slaughtered. Yeah, for sure.
Even our little Tusken Raider Ling, the little guy, his biggest fan.
The only one that I did not see, and maybe I just missed it, was the ninja. Yeah, so I'm assuming
unconfirmed.
Yeah,
no body, he's not dead.
Yeah, no way. They would have 100% shown him in that scene if he was dead. I think they're not just going to skip over him
because they did show the chief.
They did, right?
That dude's going to show up, or chick is going to show up in present time, and
because we're still up in the air whether it's a male or female,
right? But yeah, I mean, I think this is also kind of like obviously a callback to every time Tuskens have all got murdered in Star Wars,
right?
But also it is a callback to when the chief is explaining that they hide, they stay out of like really everyone's business. And really this was kind of Boba's doing because he stole the bikes from that gang, left the same symbol there.
Yep.
So I mean, I'm sure he feels personally responsible for this to some degree because he really kind of caused it, because this was the reason they stayed out of. He's like, you are warriors, and they're like, we just kind of chill.
Right.
We've been good.
And the one time that they come out of their sand dune, they get slaughtered by a biker gang.
Yeah. But it's at first I was like, I wonder like how did they even know? I mean, but the whole like pike train thing, but also I wonder if like the what are they called? The bocce sticks?
Yeah.
The weapon? Yeah. I wonder if that's like, Tusken exclusive,
I think, yeah. I mean,
because Boba uses that to like beat the crap out of the biker gang before he steals his bikes. So
right.
I'm sure word got around, and I think this was enough time. I think passed to where they're like, they rode by the camp the one time at night, and that's where Boba got the idea.
I think it was more than them riding past the camp and seeing him there, probably. And then the train sequence, the pikes probably ratted them out when they got back to where they were walking to.
That too, because
they've already paid. They've already paid there.
Yep.
Yeah, and they're currently griping over the whole territory in the first place. And I mean, this is also in line with our kind of like mob story where there's no action that doesn't kind of get retaliation when you're trying to operate in this space.
Yep, exactly.
So very, very hard sticking with that theme. And this is also kind of like your mob flashback to when like more I think more of like South American kind of like crime stories where like the whole village gets slaughtered, very much so like this.
Right.
Rip.
Where that's kind of more of the run the norm. Or like your neighborhood gets, beat up, blown up kind of thing in America.
At least Boba didn't wake up with, a bantha head in his bed.
Yeah. Oh man, I would have loved that. Actually, that would have been hilarious.
Kind of go back to the more like gruesome Star Wars, where it's just like, just left a rotting bantha head skull like in your tent.
Disney would never approve.
But yeah, Chief is dead.
Killing kids is totally fine.
Yeah, totally normal. That was pre-Disney though.
Yeah, a kid just died in this. They all died.
Oh yeah, but they didn't show it. Well, I guess they didn't show it in the
dead kid body, right? I'm pretty sure that's confirmed kill. Disney's still at it. Add that to their dark checklist of things they've done.
Right.
So this is where Boba kind of fades out of his dream, and we see him in the back to tank. And it just starts to open. He's a little startled by this, and Chrysanthemum just rips him fresh out of his back to tank mid sleep and like tosses him across the room.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. I kind of like this because we've seen every flashback that we've seen of the Tuskens has been really long. This one was really short, and then it's kind of interrupted with this. So I thought it made sense thematically to do this, but this whole fight scene was awesome, dude. And poor Boba just gets beat to crap during this entire sequence, which is awesome. And I really like some of the weapons that the Wookiee's using also. Like,
he's got like
electric brass knuckles were so cool.
Those are
man. Just tossing a wet Boba Fett all around the room.
Right.
A wet Boba Fett. Just throwing them around. And, this is more of that old Boba, kind of can't really fight a Wookiee. And I'm glad he kind of got his ass handed to him by the Wookiee because he should. I mean, he's old Boba Fett, and Chrysanthemum or however, he looks like he's in his prime as a Wookiee, like Gladiator. Like he's got that fresh fur. He's not old.
At least Boba got like half dried off too during the like back break bear hug.
Right.
Oh, God.
The only thing I could focus on that bear hug was
his toe.
His toe, bro.
Oh my gosh. I thought his toe was like broken.
Dude, so did I. I was like, wow, that looks so weird. Why is that happening? But
do you know what we're talking about, Nick?
No, I missed it.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
man.
go back and look at his big toe. It's
left foot.
It's like all the
straight up and
like
down.
this, and then his big toe is like this.
Straight up and down. Yeah, it's so bizarre looking.
Hey, that's acting right there. Like,
Yeah, for
what would your
sure.
body do if you got like crushed by a Wookiee? My toe would do this for sure.
I'm glad I'm not the only person that focused on that, because I was like,
Glad
Yeah.
you guys saw this.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, for me, it was like the bikes that stuck out like literally a
Sore toe?
Sore toe.
Oh boy. But yeah, it was a pretty good fight scene, and you know, we get our little street gang. They show up.
They take their time.
They take their time to show up.
Especially when like he's being broken in half. Chick's like, I'm just gonna do a stroll on over here.
Yeah, she did her like fast-paced walk, and I was like, I mean, really? I mean, you got the jump on a Wookiee. You gotta come a little heavier than that.
Yeah, and I would also like to know how the heck this thing got into.
Climbed
Like,
up the side of the building.
I
Windows
understand
wide
that there's very few people to be running security, but they look like they're running security. So how did a ginormous black Wookiee get in the
Stealth
building? Yeah, there's no way. There's no way he stealthed his way into the palace.
Sneaking around behind house plants.
Right.
Hey,
a guard comes and he just lays on the ground and pretends like a throw rug or something. When did we get this Wookiee rug? This is new. Must be in tribute or something.
my favorite part of the fight is though when the Gamorrean guards show up and like he just like double arm tackles them down the stairs into the audience chamber. I was like, no, that's pretty hardcore. I was like, he's going
Takes a little bite out of one.
At this point, I assume he's just trying to escape because he's completely left the room Boba was in, so he could put his pants on and all that stuff.
I mean, it almost seemingly seems like he was not trying to kill Boba. He was just trying to rough him up, right?
Yeah,
because he would have easily killed him if he was there to do that.
It goes back to the issues that I have with fight scenes sometimes when it's like, oh, you opened like he's sleeping, like don't grab him and like throw him or punch him, just like stab him in the face,
right,
or in the chest, like kill him. But like you said, there might, maybe he's just there to really kind of rough him up, I guess.
I definitely think that was the intention, because we've heard plenty about how strong Wookiees are throughout the series. Including, I think Han says something like they'll rip your arms off and beat you with them or something like that. So I think even with as equipped as he is too, like he would have easily killed him if that's what he was there for.
But that would make for a very good. That would be a very limited series. Halfway through episode 3,
he's dead.
He gets strangled in the back of the tank while he's having an emo boy dream about slaughtered Tusken friends.
And then in classic Disney fashion, we get a female Boba Fett taking the reins.
Fennec Fett.
Fennec Fett.
And we know Boba doesn't die in this series unless they like somehow fast forward past Mando, which they could do.
Possible,
And his back to tank, he dreams, and we see his death.
The air thing just slips out of his mouth and he just drowns.
He drowns.
Oh man. And he can't get out. It's just like but the double tackle, the Gamorrean guards downstairs, so we're down in the throne room. Kind of see where this was going. I was like, all right, we're gonna corner the dude right on the grate. Fennec rolls in, pops the trap door, Wookiee falls
But he's
down.
not on the grate. How many trap doors are on this audience?
There's the grate, and then there's like a closer one.
Well, the grate is for viewing what's in there. It's not for trapping people down in there. There's like an invisible door that opens up in front of it, and then I think as it closes, the seat like moves forward so they can look down. So Jabba could look down and see everybody get eaten.
Trapdoor's like right in front of the throne, kind of covered in sand. It's like sneaky.
Yeah, it's a perfect place to put it because that's where people are going to stand to pay their tributes, typically to Jabba.
Right.
Yeah, no one's gotten the memo out though that like, hey,
right, like nobody's been like, hey, by the way,
Jabba's
watch out for the trap door.
Watch out for the trap door.
That Rancor pit, like it's there for a reason.
Yeah.
So they capture the Wookiee. Easy peasy, not real big deal. But cool little fight scene. Got to see the Wookiee back already. And I guess if you negate the last episode, like really, not a lot has happened in this timeline.
Right.
Since we
Yeah.
kind of got introduced to all this. So fair pacing. Next scene, Fennec is enjoying a nice feast, the trappings, as she calls it, of being in charge, basically. He's telling Boba that he should do the same. But Boba, having almost got murdered in his bed, sleep in his back
Slightly
to tank.
grumpy.
All I
Can we
think
go
about,
back to tank real quick?
Yeah.
Because the ham hock, Gamorrean who gets chomped on, Boba's like, "I'll get him to my back to tank."
Yeah.
Like, how's that dude gonna fit in that tank?
Yeah, they'll make it work. Just shove them in there.
So, like,
You
what makes the
you
back to
splash the
tank
water on
like have healing
The
properties?
liquid.
They have like special waters and
The
stuff.
liquid.
Yeah, it's the liquid in it.
Do you ever play a
Nice.
Star Wars game, like the stuff
No.
that heals you?
Fallen
back
Order.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's always in like
Nice.
a blue canister.
Nice.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Cool. All right, continue. I
I
apologize.
No. On Hoth, when Luke gets messed up by the Wampa and he's in the tank, it's not just a water tank, it's a back tank.
Yep.
So are those the goop tubes from Mando? They just
No.
back to tubes?
I mean, I get it.
grown little Snokes,
I don't think it's backed at that
little
point.
Snokies.
Little Snokies.
Many Snokes.
Anyways,
so while they're Fennec's like, they're basically having a conversation, like he's like, I need to respond. She's like, you should wait and just let them make the next move. He's like, either they're huts, like if they make the next move, like I'm probably gonna die next time.
Yeah.
we let him make the next move.
So
And my toe got all jacked.
Yeah.
You just want to sit here and eat all this food.
Yeah.
So they're having this debate, and then 88 enters, and he announces that the twins conveniently have arrived. So they are already making the first move, but they are arrived with a gift. So the twins arrive with their litter, and I must say, so like obviously not dressed for combat, Boba, like dude's got to take at least 5 minutes to go up to his like room, get his gear on, and then come down. So I'm just always amazed at like the timing of everything.
Well, he's got that robot to put it on. Probably. Maybe
Yeah,
he's got
true.
like a fast mode.
Yeah, fast one. Like, quick, I gotta go meet someone at the door. Gotta get the front
Yeah.
door. Gotta put my pants on. So the twins arrive, and they're showing up on their luscious litter of peasants, kind of carrying them about, and they apologize for sending the Wookiee to kill him, and they give Boba a Rancor that comes rolling up here on a big old barge Sith thing, and
driven by Machete.
Yes, Danny Trejo is our Rancor handler, wearing very much the same gear that the original Rancor handler. They all kind of wear this like really big belt, kind of like a wrestling belt, and maybe that's a callback to how the Rancors are bred to like basically wrestle and fight gladiator style. So
Yeah.
kind of reminds me of that, but it was cool. He perfect character, perfect actor to kind of be the rugged beast tamer, I'd call it, because
for sure. Yeah.
very much more of like a beast master type role.
Cool
very
little
fit.
cameo.
Yeah,
I liked it.
Yeah, we get a little bit more of it, and that's all very enjoyable. So they give him that gift. They state that they're withdrawing their claim on Tatooine because it's already spoken for by the mayor and another syndicate. And they also kind of suggest that Boba should also withdraw his claim because war is not good for business, and Tatooine is kind of like a piece of crap rock, and no one needs it. Boba returns the Wookiee as a returns the Wookiee, his prisoner, but they re-gifted back to Boba. So they apparently want nothing to do with this situation anymore. They leave. Boba frees the Wookiee. The Wookiee just kind of like scurries off. I thought we would get like a team up thing here. It's like, you know what? I got nothing better going on. So
such an awkward run too.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
That's how he got into the palace.
Yeah, that awkward. Yeah, I think we're. It's not the last we're going to see him. I would imagine.
No,
I think we are going to get a team up at some point in this show.
Black Wookiee finds Black Tusken.
Yes.
And they like survive in the desert together, and they just show up, just the ultimate duo.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be like the Battle of the Bastards saving moment. Boba Fett's on his last dying breath, and they're gonna come down from the hills. But yeah, I think we're definitely. I mean, it would be odd if we don't see him team up with Boba. I would imagine, because I think that's what he's from originally. So,
very correct. So yeah, I mean, I think that's like kind of like the most out of that. The Hutts don't really kind of give out too many details here. Really, they just kind of withdrew their claim. It's already claimed. They don't want any part of this. Just not good for the business.
They're piecing out.
Yeah, it's obviously, I mean, something seemingly has them scared in some capacity, because it's not like them to just turn and run for whatever reason. So whatever, and we assume that the syndicate that this has been given to is the Pikes, right? Maybe.
Yeah. No, that's later, I think, stated. Or like,
is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's the Pikes.
Yeah.
Essentially, that's like the whole like post chase scene drop at the end.
Oh yeah. Where they're getting yeah, so they must have some sort of reputation to get the Hutts to leave so easily and quickly, you know.
Well, you know, they probably brokered a deal, just because it wasn't like a 3-way, 4-way like fight for Tatooine. They're just like, listen, if you just back off, we'll deal with Boba and we'll just give you money.
Yeah, could be,
definitely one of those, because the Hutts kind of seem like disinterested, less so much scared, I would say.
Right, that's true.
Like, yeah, you know, it's just not worth it.
Yeah.
And I mean, Boba also was like, you know, what are they doing here? Like, you should be on Nal Hutta. Like, Tatooine is kind of like a crap hole.
Right.
It's a Jabba's, you know, resort.
Yeah.
His playground. Jabba's playground. That's what Tatooine was. So we get this really, I think it is one of the cooler scenes in the episode. Really, because like Danny Trejo's in it. We have a big old Rancor, and we get Boba being like sentimental old man. So we're in the Rancor pit, and Boba learns more about this Rancor and its intricate nature from Danny here. Basically explains that they're emotionally complex creatures. Boba's like mostly like, he just doesn't understand Rancor. He's just like, oh, they're giant beasts and they're like violent. They like to fight. And,
right.
You know, Danny's kind of explaining is, you know, they're emotionally complex. They're really great fighters, but they have deep bonds with their owners and can be trained.
Just real big social commentary on pit bulls.
I was just going to say that. That's hilarious. You took it right out of my mouth. For sure. Yeah, I think that's how I took this for sure.
Very true. Wears blinders. Boba asks why, and basically they bond with like the first human or owner that they see. A little murky there how that works. Like they you know, when they first see like a, you know, how do they know? But maybe they just know. They're emotionally complex. We'll just leave it at that. And Boba likes this whole like new pet ownership. Basically, he's really taken to. He's like, I like.
He's really into it. Yeah.
Yeah. He's
really
like this. This is better than like what I'm currently doing. Like, and you know, Danny's like, yeah, like the witches of Dathomir, like apparently like ride these things into battle and stuff. And Boba's like, whoa.
Yeah, I want to ride this.
Man. Yeah.
He's like, I've ridden things 10 times its size. Well, one, I want to know what those were. Like, are they like dragons? Like, there are like kind of
right.
There are dragon-like creatures that I forget what they're called, but the Mandalorians did ride
Crate dragon.
Yeah, I think that might be it actually. Very, very huge monster that could fly into battle. Basically, Mandalorians rode dragons. Yes.
Yeah.
So apparently Boba, he's just all about it. He's like, unless a bantha is bigger, I think it's like very equivalent size, because the Rancor isn't as big as it looks. I don't know, like its size changes in my mind. Like when it's on the like skiff versus when it's like laying in the pit versus when they like stand up. Like they're a bunch of different sizes.
Yeah, I agree with that, but they're far more intimidating looking than a bantha,
yes.
Size wise or not. They're like
Danny did say it was a calf, so this might still be young, especially because it's always had blinders on its whole life. Maybe it just simply hasn't, it hasn't seen anyone, so it might be a younger, smaller one.
Yeah.
Shout out Dathomir.
Shout out Dathomir for sure. And the witches there. Though either something happens to the Rancor or like Boba's this one of those kind of pet owners, like, oh, cool new pet, and then forgets about it and like goes off across the galaxy to help Mando and do a bunch of other stuff. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I think we're definitely going to be seeing him show up at the sanctuary riding this thing because they've been calling out him. Yeah, that's his litter now for sure. I think that's where this is going, which is
I have my litter.
Yeah,
way cooler.
Yeah.
Now that's intimidating.
Yes,
for sure.
Danny removes the blinders. Boba and the Rancor bond, and of course 8D8 very fashionably pops his head around. The Rancor is like, "Hey, can't get an appointment with the mayor." Boba's like, "I'm just gonna go."
Such an odd number of days, by the way. He's like, he's gonna be disposed for the next 20 days. I'm like,
I guess it's a month of like
Matt
working
Berry.
days.
Yeah.
True.
But yeah, so he's like, you know what? Feed the Rancor a full round of something, and I'll be back. And then, Danny's just like, don't worry, buddy. He'll be back. And you get that sad look in the Rancor's eyes, like, oh, we just met.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was a really cool scene just because.
Yeah, I liked it.
In the Bad Batch, we got some more Rancor details.
Yeah.
From that episode.
Didn't they save like a little baby one? More of a baby than this one?
Yeah, they saved a baby one and delivered it to Bib Fortuna. Was what happened.
Oh,
interesting.
So I don't know what happened to Bib Fortuna's. I mean, someone probably just came along and was like, Bib, that's mine. He's like, okay, take it.
Yeah, take it.
Maybe this is that one. They're returning it. Can I borrow your Rancor? Definitely not this one though. Fresh calf. So this is where we arrive at the best scene in the whole series. And Boba arrives at the mayor's office, not with just Fennec and some Gamorrean guards, but he's got his street gang and their fancy bikes, which we talked about at length already. They arrive, they walk right in. The mayor assistant, I forget this dude's name. I kind of don't like him, but he's
I'm kind of sick of seeing him, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he's super annoying. And he kind of scurries back and he's like, you know what? We can make time for you. Runs back, locks the door very noticeably, which just kind of red flags to Boba. He's like, did he just lock the door?
Yeah.
Fennec and him force their way in. Chamber's empty. Pop back out. He's in his speeder car thing, taking off. And they're like, get him. And then chase scene ensues. Now, the second time watching this, it started off okay. And like the speed and timing was right-ish. But like as a cohesive chase, it didn't, because there was like weird things like maneuver wise, like when it went up the side of the building.
Yeah.
If they would have just stuck like down the middle of the streets and like a pure chase, I think it would have been okay. But they did like they were trying to do like these weird cool maneuvers with the bikes that just really kind of said, okay, they're not moving that fast, because it just went
slow up over the building. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I thought that, as we're talking about it, I don't hate this episode as much as I did, or I thought I did. It's really just a sequence in the bikers in general that I disliked about the episode. But I thought this would have been maybe cooler at night, like a chase through the night streets of Mos Espa.
No. Because then you could kind of hide or like use lighting and things like that to make it seem faster.
Right.
Well, these dudes seem cooler at night when Boba first confronted them.
Right. Also true. Yeah. During the day, they just stick out like a sore toe. So, I hope, like I said earlier,
gonna be the saying going forward
from now on. Stick out like a sore toe.
One thing that I noticed on the second watch, they really did their best to try to squeeze every droid like in this chase sequence in some fashion of like almost getting ran over.
Right.
Yeah, you get like the protocol droid. Like, I think that was like an exact move that 3PO has done before.
He had the cool like Lord of the Rings like or like Sauron handprint,
Yeah.
like face paint on.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys noticed that.
Yeah, I mean, there's like Bith on a little like carriage, like taxi thing, which well, I think was from episode 1. Like they did pack a lot of Easter eggs kind of into this. Just like really, they were all your like Star Wars street level Easter eggs. Nothing too crazy, but yeah, they did pack a lot in here. And for Tatooine, like they really wrecked like a lot of fruit and like vegetables and like
Right,
a couple
yeah.
scenes. I was like, man,
Mass starvation on Tatooine from
Yeah, from the
Mayor's
scooter
assistant.
chase.
Mayor's assistant destroys whole market.
yeah.
But yeah, then they have like the R2D2 type droid on the back of a like a little
pit droid. Got hit like a hockey puck.
Yeah, they just really, I mean, like one of those would have been cool, but they're just like, nope,
Right. No, let's
gonna
throw
do
4 of
everyone.
them.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like the scene just tried to do too much, and it just that's where it lost its cohesion. Like, because I could get behind like maybe they literally did not need to go really fast because they're through tight, small streets, and maybe it was that kind of chase, but it wasn't.
Right.
So like overall, it did not add up to what it was trying to do because there's just too much going on. So like Mike said, like drop out all the other stuff they threw in there, drop out the weird moves. Make the bikes like normal, I guess, and not scooters. And also they had like all the chrome like mirror ornaments and stuff on it. Like they're just
it was hideous, dude.
It's more like the Jetsons or
yes,
or
exactly.
Fallout without it actually falling out, like that retro.
Yeah. It did. They do have like a 50s look to them. 40s, 50s look. Yeah,
the nuclear age we never had.
Right.
That's definitely where I feel like they came from.
Yeah, they look like those old Fallout refrigerators.
Yes. But yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of not much consequence. It'll just kind of fall into the back of our minds.
I hope so.
Overall, if they continue to use them more and more. But anyways, they catch the mayor's assistant, and he just kind of squeals like a little tattletale, and he's like, the mayor, he's working with the Pikes. And I'm like, oh, this is what's going on. So still no talk of like what these other families are doing, but the Pikes are the syndicate who are muscling in onto, they have Mos Eisley. So Mos Espa, they seem to be kind of putting their mark on.
Right.
And then we get a, eye prosthetic guy. And he's kind of like doing the classic, like mob, like spy, like stakeout where he's at the starport. He just sees him in his mirror and then he just kind of like rides away. That was kind of weird. And then he uses a phone booth to like
that was
call.
Kind of weird.
Yeah.
Which I've never seen before. I mean, well, I don't think I've seen exactly that, but yeah, he kind of rolls up to a little like phone booth really on the side of the wall and just like calls Boba. Can I get the palace? What's I forgot the number. I'm new.
Thanks for keeping an eye out.
And then there's that weird dialogue. There's the weird dialogue of like, I know a Pike when I see him. Well, it's like, okay, like we get it. Like Pikes are pretty. Everyone in Star Wars, you know what I mean? It's like just calling out a random race, and you're like, yeah, I know one when I see one. Okay. Weird bit there, and really, I mean, all that to really drive this whole the Pikes are going to war with Boba. Here at the middle of the series of 7 episodes, we're in episode 3. So I'm trying to think how this like positions the story going forward. So really, like the Pikes are showing up, they're bringing in people on like public transport starliners, just like a bunch of grunts. It looks like to kind of muscle in on Mos Espa. So we haven't seen really anything of the families yet. Maybe Boba will try to recruit some of the families to.
I mean, I think he's going to have to, because there's a lot of the Pikes getting off of the transport ship.
Yeah, but a Tusken ninja plus a Wookiee.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know anything about how the Pikes are fighting. Do we know that? Like, are they like renowned fighters.
Nah, they're kind of like
The-
squid faces, and they
Right.
wear masks, and they mostly shoot.
Yeah.
On speeding trains with 100% accuracy.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
But I mean, we're gonna see the swoop bike gang come back. I feel.
This is true because that's where. Because they keep alluding to it in the Tuscan past sequences. So like,
Yeah.
now Boba obviously is going to resolve that somehow in the past, I assume, and then maybe could the swoop bike gang be on his side at this point in time or no? We
I
would've
don't
seen them
know.
by now.
Yeah. To me,
He snuffed them out.
I mean, we haven't seen a whole heck of a lot out of this time frame because we have spent a majority of the show with the Tuscans.
True,
But I kind of feel like they're going to get massacred by Boba. He's going to go get revenge, and we're not going to see him, or they would have been shown up somewhere.
Yeah,
Just
they killed the
not
whole
here.
village, so he's going to probably kill all of them.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
They're no longer a thing on Tatooine anymore.
Yeah.
Become extinct.
And yeah,
No gang.
and the scooter gang takes over there.
That's how the scooter gang is able to become a thing because
Yeah.
like the old school bikers are gone.
They're
So
gone.
like the fancy youngins and their shiny imports. And then also on the closed caption when they're panning outside of the mayor's office and they're the gang is just kind of talking amongst themselves and the one's like, nah, mine's definitely faster than yours.
Oh
yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Boo.
Yeah.
They're having that like discourse. So I
Right.
was like, oh man.
Just not into it at all, man. I got to be honest.
So, yeah.
Killed the episode for me.
Was that? I was just about to ask. Was that the hang up in the episode?
Yeah, I didn't really know exactly precisely what it was. I knew that I didn't like that chase sequence or those
Right.
bikers, but after talking through it, it's really the only hang up I have on this episode. I liked pretty much everything else. I liked the Rancor stuff. I liked the fight sequence with the Wookiee. I liked everything. I just did not like the chase sequence, and the bikers are just like absurd.
Yeah.
Like it's maybe one of the worst entries into Star Wars that I can think of ever. Maybe
The bike gang for you is like the stub toe you have all episode, and then you stub it again at the end, and you're like, this is all I can think about. I am so enraged.
Right.
No, definitely after going through it, like there is a lot of like good elements in this because we're finally in perspective continuing this present day story finally and getting much more color in all this, and we're getting quite a bit of it pretty quickly. Like we already see the huts, they're in and out, get the Wookiee, we get the families, like there's a lot of setup going here.
There is.
So
and I think that's why this episode kind of falters a little bit, is because it's just setting up future episodes. Really, it's doing the base work, and that's not always necessarily the most entertaining thing to watch. So
makes sense. Let's take like 2 minutes and predict why Jordan doesn't like the series anymore.
Well, he said it's falling on its face.
Right. Those are aggressive words, I think.
I think because he's already skeptical about just the whole premise. But then you throw one misstep like the speeder bike gang chase scene, and like it's enough for it to just like really impact it.
Yeah, I think most people's hang up with the Boba Fett series is that they brought him back from the Sarlacc pit, but that happened in the comics, so it's not like he's been alive in the comics for a long time in that exact fashion that we saw it in the show.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're like upset about that, I don't know why you're upset about that.
Do
I don't
you
know
think
if that's Jordan's problem or what? But...
and he has many. But no, like, do you guys, being much more versed in Star Wars than I, like, do you think the series is treating the character of Boba Fett in a good, upstanding way? Like, is this the Boba Fett that people know, or like could his gripe be with?
So his gripes likely, along with a lot of other people, like there are a lot of these gripes are more founded in less in like the visuals, less in like this the aesthetics and like the characters. It's mostly the old guard portrayal and continuation of these characters and legends conflicting with the new canon. So Han Solo has established legacy, legends, like character arc. Luke Skywalker, the biggest burn that everyone had with it wasn't anything to do with like, I mean, obviously it was a lot to do with a lot of things, but the biggest the root of all that was that is not Luke Skywalker's character.
Right.
That's their issue. So probably, if there's a Boba similar issue, a lot of it just lies in the fact like this is not the Boba Fett that like I grew up with kind of thing, or that was previously established in Legends. Like Boba Fett doesn't turn out to be this hero. Like he's kind of being positioned into this like bad guy turned hero kind of character, but while still trying to be like, nah, he's still like the bad guy in the gray area.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he is becoming a crime lord, so he's not necessarily turning into a good guy. But I don't know. I probably would have maybe done this series. I would have probably stuck with the bounty hunting stuff to tell the series. I thought it would have been maybe cooler to maybe jump around the galaxy a little bit more in this.
Right.
I feel like we are probably going to be in Mos Espa for the entire series, which is okay since it's a limited series, I guess. But even like towards the end of this episode, it was like, even though we haven't even seen that much from this newer, future timeline, it's getting like, okay, like what's going on here? Like, let's do something. Right. I want to there's things I want to see in this. I want to see some fighting. That would be great. We see small little fight sequences. I want to see his ship, which is nowhere to be found. I don't know why, except in the flashbacks. So, I mean, the ship's fine, right? Like, it didn't get destroyed in The Mandalorian or anything. No,
correct.
The Mandalorian ship.
He drops them off, and he plays a supporting role in the finale, and basically gets them to the cruiser, and then he just kind of dips out.
And he leaves, right?
The ship's
he didn't give his ship.
Day.
He didn't give his ship to the Mandalorian, did he?
No, they just needed to use it for.
They just used it, right?
Yeah.
So I guess money wise, probably is why we're not seeing the ship that much in this. But
but like you said, they don't need it. They're not.
They don't need it. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
He's keeping it, just parked, clean.
Right.
Just got it painted. Just got it clean.
Yeah, trying to stay on par with the scooter bike gang.
Yeah. Have it out in the dust, in the dirt, in the desert. But yeah, I mean, that would have been really cool if they, it would be cool if he got his, let's see here, past Tusken stuff, don't really need to change much of that because that's well fitted. The go forward stuff, he needs to beef with the bounty hunter guild, and basically he's like an independent bounty hunter. He doesn't need no stinking guild. I just always see him as that way. And he's trying to chase down leads and stuff. And this bounty hunter guild keeps getting in his freaking way.
Yeah, and, that would have been a cool. Yeah,
he's
that
just
would have been cool.
tuning them up.
Right, because all the legend stuff, it was all bounty hunter guild stuff. So
yeah,
I actually have I can't remember the name of it. It might be the Book of Bounty Hunters or something like that.
Yes.
But it's like a guide to bounty hunters for Star Wars that he's writes a bunch in. But yeah, I don't know, that the thing that rubbed me the most about this episode outside of the bikers was he said that he was an ex bounty hunter. Take it from an ex bounty hunter. I don't really want him to be an ex bounty hunter, but maybe that was part of his rebirth he went through after the Sarlacc pit. You know what I mean? He is changing his path a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. I can get behind it, but you got to give me something to grasp onto here,
Right. It's kind of maybe more kind of like mob-esque stories. You come up one way as you get older, you're just not into the same things.
Right.
You stop partying, you stop going out and bounty hunting. You just kind of turn more, you stay at home. You like your back to tank.
Yeah,
it doesn't
and I think
fit on the ship.
Right.
You need a house.
Yeah. I think that they're probably doing this and separating it from the Bounty Hunters Guild and everything, because that was touched on a little bit in The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian's really become our new Boba Fett as far as the bounty hunter stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that if they had come out and told that story that we're talking about, even though that's personally what I would have wanted, we'd probably be complaining that it's too close to the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
So,
and with Grogu being gone in Mando, maybe they'll take the more bounty hunting approach.
Yeah.
In the next season, I don't know.
Well,
we'll see.
Well, not to be a Mando, we talked about this in Mando, but he is supposed to go help Bo-Katan, who I think is getting her own series.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
Because Fennec is loose on the Twitters and it was just like, congratulations, Bo-Katan. And everyone's just like, oh, I mean, like, we knew she's in shows and stuff, but why did she get another congratulations?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like they could do something fun and like Mando's like in other series, like a Bo-Katan series, and then Mando picks back up when Grogu comes back in the scene. You know what I mean? Like a couple years later, who knows?
Right.
But the more we kind of discuss this, like new Boba and like where they could have gone and what they could have done, I'm really starting like the more they kind of put in context where Boba is in his life. I do, and I'm starting to take more issue with the fact that there was Return of the Jedi Boba falls into Sarlacc pit. I mean, we see Boba like not too long after, like with the Tuskens, and he's already donned this like I'm 55 years old. Get up, like the way he behaves.
He was in there for a while.
That's what I mean. Like, how long was? There's a timing issue here because
some good Beskar.
In my mind, I mean, we can do like the math, but Return of the Jedi Boba is like, dude's got to be like a pristine, like 29, just cooking people, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, we don't know because he never takes his. We have no idea, really. You know,
true. But he's like, he had like just like his figure, like he's fit, like he's not Tamara Morrison. 2022.
So from Clone Wars era to Return of the Jedi, how many years is it? It's like 20 something.
Yeah. And he's like a teenager.
He's a kid in that, or a teenager. So yeah, that's an interesting. I didn't even really think
low
of that.
30s.
Yeah, that's a good point. They don't really touch too much on the timeline that we're working with here, so we have no idea how long he's been in that or how long oxygen lasted in his suit and all that stuff.
So let's see here. During the events of Boba Fett is estimated to be 41 years old. He was 36 in Return of the Jedi.
Okay, yeah.
So he spent like 4 years in the desert.
Yeah, that makes sense. What is that?
Google.
It's like I don't understand. That happened once with Jordan on the Falcon Winter Soldier. It just must be a companion series thing.
Yeah, it's only happened.
But next week we come up on the true middle episode, right? Episode 4 of 7. We'll have 3 more after next week. Wow, Jordan.
That's right.
The devil.
See, I'm just finding more reasons for him to
hate that series.
To like the series less.
I don't know, man. I harp on Star Wars quite a bit, but I love this series. Like, this is just a miss for me. A couple scenes in here, you know. I'm still completely on board with it. So,
I think it'll round itself out to be the usual what to expect. But
I think this is like you said, this is the most important episode coming up. And depending on what kind of turn we take in this episode is gonna kind of play out the rest of the series.
Yeah.
And we shall see. We end the episode here with Boba basically telling Fennec that they'll be ready for this war. So I expect some more recruiting probably. I wouldn't be surprised if this next episode is the episode we get the scene with the meeting with all the Trandoshans. What do you guys think? How do you think the Trandoshans will come into play?
That is true. We have that scene from the trailer, so never mind. He is definitely going to try and recruit the Trandoshans at the least to his cause.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's where that scene's gonna play out. Is he's gonna be trying to recruit them for sure.
And I think
Nice.
that's where this will, like you said, Chad, like it's going to become important what happens in the next like episode or two here, because this is where the more serious plays will start to be made, where like the action picks up, more things are kind of on the table and being pressed on. I forgot about that scene entirely from the trailer.
I did too, to be honest with you. That might be what like the last scene in the trailer that we haven't seen yet. I'll have to go back and watch, but I don't think we've seen.
Got the spider at the beginning of this one.
Oh yeah. This is confirmed as a limited series, right? There's never going to be a season 2, or is it kind of up in the air?
In the air, like it's just us. It's just the Book of Boba Fett. They haven't said one way or the other.
Trying to see how it pans out before they commit to a second season.
Yeah, I don't think they've, even with Mando, they never kind of said what it was. They were just like, "Hey, it's season 2."
Right.
So we'll never know until it happens.
Yep. But we'll see how this plays out. We're coming up on the halfway point, so excited to see where the series goes. They got a lot of loose ends to tie up, that's for sure. But yeah, make sure you guys join us next week as we break down episode 4. But before we get to next, Sunday, we have the newscast tomorrow night, which will be fun. We break down the latest chatter in the industry over the last couple weeks. And then, of course, we have our weekly Thursday night episode coming up on Thursday, also at 9. You can watch or listen to all those here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or if you enjoy the audio episodes, those will be uploaded to all of the normal audio podcasting platforms. If you like what you heard, please consider subscribing and following our pages so you're always notified whenever we go live, which is pretty frequent these days. We also have Patreon, patreon.com/showboyspodcast. You can hop over there, check out what we have to offer, and help support the podcast. It would mean a lot to us. We also have a merch store, link in the episode description. And on our off podcasting days, we usually have some sort of game stream over on Showboys Gaming. So make sure you go check out the Showboys Gaming YouTube channel and subscribe over there. You guys have any final words before we throw on the amazing SJT remix of the Book of Boba Fett theme that he has graciously allowed us to use for our companion series?
Take it away.
All right. Yeah, make sure you go check out SJT's links. They're in the episode description. And, hang out. Stick around after the song here, because I got a little something that you're going to want to see.
Boba Fett.
Close enough, right?